republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty God, we ask you bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding, so that in fulfilling their public trust, every deliberation will result in actions that will promote the common good and general welfare for all the people of Morris Plains. Amen. Notice to members of the governing body and borough staff, any use of electronic devices during this meeting shall be used solely for the purpose of borough business. We have approval of, no approval of minutes, I'm sorry, approval of consent calendar and the agenda.
Approval of consent, approval of consent. That's why I get yelled at. We're cheating, Marcia, we share mics. This mic too. All right. Council Cortez, report. Borough Clerk, August 2025. Animal licensing, August 2025. Sanitarian, August 2025. Building Inspector, August 2025. Police Department, August 2025. Tax Collector, August 2025. Treasurer, August 2025. Resolution 2025-160 entitled, Resolution Authorizing Disposal of Surplus Property. Resolution 2025-117 entitled, Resolution appointing Rosemary Land as Borough Clerk and Personnel Director of Borough of Morris Plains. Resolution 2025-118 entitled, Borough of Morris Plains Resolution of Support to submit a grant application to the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation to obtain a Lucas 3 automated compression device costing approximately $22,000. Resolution 2025-119 entitled, Resolution to authorize the change in custodian of a petty cash fund, Borough Clerk. Resolution 2025-120 entitled, Resolution authorizing a ride-along program with the Morris Plains Police Department. Resolution 2025-121 entitled, Cancellation of balances and overpayments less than $10. Gina Stricchiola be hired as a substitute crossing guard for the police department at a daily rate of $90, effective September 19, 2025, upon successful completion of a background check and a physical exam. Effective September 18, 2025, Rosemary Land is hereby designated as the acting clerk and authorized to witness the execution of documents on behalf of the borough in the absence of the borough clerk. The mayor is hereby authorized to execute a contract prepared by the borough attorney with John Morgan Thomas Landscape Architects LLC for landscape architectural services for Idlewild Pool, Block 7203, Lots 7 and 8. The borough clerk be authorized to advertise for the position of the part-time teen center supervisor.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Berger, roll call please.
Mr. Cortez?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mr. Ivy?
Yes.
Mr. Pontier?
Yes.
Ms. Verga? Yes.
So I'd like to just welcome Rosemary and say congratulations to you. I know you're not the lead clerk yet, but you're here as acting clerk, so best of luck to you. And Christian, who took her spot as the deputy clerk, we welcome you, Christian. I'm not going to say your last name, so if you want to say it, you can go right ahead. But Christian, best of luck to you too moving forward. So thank you. Now I'd like to have a public hearing on a for a soil disturbance permit. Mr. Ryden?
Thank you, Mayor. First order of business would be to establish that proper notice was given to the surrounding property owners. Does someone have that?
Do you have that?
Yes, I have it on.
Okay. I know Mr. Odegaard is here. I see him in the audience. Maybe he can give you a quick briefing of what he likes to do, and then I will.
Why don't you come on up, state your name and address. State your name and address, please, and the reason that you're here for us.
My name is Evgeny Odigov. I'm here for soil movement application, and this is Tony is presenting me as an engineer department
Okay.
who prepared all the papers. The reason I'm here because I need to move soil from my property because I'm doing a dry well and move it from the property. So I need application for this. I apply application, but it needs to me.
Right, okay. Just as for the record, state your name and address, please.
Evgeny Odigov, 42 Franklin Place, Morris Plains, New Jersey.
Do you need a spelling, Rosemary? Or you have it? Mr. Ryan?
Yes, Mayor, this application is for the disturbance of 241 cubic yards of soil. The threshold for a permit is 200 cubic yards, as you know. This, the work being done here is in connection with Mr. Odega's garage and driveway modification that he's doing at his property at 42 Franklin. That whole project was approved by the Board of Adjustment some time ago.
I asked to be excused. I have a conflict of interest, I'm sorry.
Just for the record, Mr. Cortez will excuse us.
So as I was saying, this project was approved by the Board of Adjustment some time ago, and all of the attendant grading plans, stormwater management plan, soil erosion control plan were all approved as part of that. So that's all in order here. So this is just I'll call it a routine soil disturbance because you have to disturb soil to build your house and garage and driveway. I have no problem with the request. And I don't have any engineering stipulations. There are some administrative items that should be included in any approval you might make.
Do you have a letter that
I
that
do,
you
I have-
received, and what's the date on that
The
letter?
date of the letter is August 12, 2025. It was addressed to Mrs. Denman. And there is also a letter from our soil consultant, Mr. Joe Norton. His letter is dated July 1st, 2025. He has a couple of conditions in there. There's his standard, every application he makes the same kind of comments. Here, there's nothing out of the ordinary. So I would,
This has always been a residential dwelling over there, as far as your,
yes, for one.
and Joe Norton's okay, and he has a,
Yeah, again, it's just, he wants the estimate, he wants, all that's in place. But we'll make a condition if you take approval here on that letter and my letter on August 12th.
before we have any questions, the engineer, do you have anything? Just
No.
state your name and address for the record.
Yeah,
And your company.
my name is Anthony Forgione. I work for Casey and Keller Incorporated. We're the engineers to the project. My address is 42 Penniston Avenue, East Hanover, New Jersey. Yeah, most of the, like Mr. Ryden said, it's typical soil disturbance associated with construction of a driveway and a garage. A lot of the soil movement is resulting from the construction of the dry wells, which are a stormwater management device we're using, which we testified when we were seeking variance relief will hold the entirety of a 100-year storm on our property. So that's generating most of the soil movement.
And you were in receipt along with the owner of Mr. Ryden and Mr. Norton's letters?
Yes, I was in contact with both Mr. Ryden and Mr.
So
Norton.
you and your client both are okay with with what's recommended from both of those letters?
Yes, sir.
Mike, do you have any questions for the?
The drywall, was that required because of the removal of pervious surfaces?
The proposal of,
Yeah.
of impervious surfaces, yes.
That was my question.
Nancy?
That was my question too. A 100-year storm sounds like a lot of water. And is it because you removed a lot of grass and trees?
We were proposing a lot of impervious surface, so that's why, I mean, that was approved when we went to the planning board, so that was a large, I guess selling point per se, is that we were providing enough stormwater management to hold that runoff.
So the neighbors would have less concern about any
Yes,
runoff or
absolutely.
storm?
Mark?
Just one question, maybe this is more for Mr. Ryden. Where, when you remove the soil, where will it go?
That's up to Mr. Odegaard.
Okay,
The only thing is if he deposited it on another property in Morris Plain, that property would also need a soil disturbance permit, so.
It's on application, it's going to be to this soil,
A recycling center.
Yes.
So
And that's
it's
going
outside of Morris.
Okay,
outside of Morris
that's
Plains?
fine.
Yes.
Okay, and just so I think I heard you correctly, he's allowed to remove 200 cubic yards, but he's removing 241 cubic yards?
Well, the total disturbance is 241 yards. He's actually removing from the site 164.
Okay,
So, it's like 10 truckloads.
right, okay. Thank you.
And these operations will take place during normal hours according to our ordinances and permits and all that sort of stuff.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else have any other
Just,
questions?
did you, when you went before the Board of Adjustment, did you exceed the coverage requirements for the property? Was there a variance for that?
Yes, that's what we seek relief from,
Okay.
yes.
You provided testimony before the board.
No, I did not. I'm not a licensed engineer. I do have an EIT, but I'm not a licensed engineer. I work for the licensed engineer who did testify to that, and I was at that meeting.
And sir, you're familiar with the reports of Mr. Ryden dated August 12, 2025, and Mr. Norton, July 1st, 2025?
I had all the reports, everything on my email, and I had,
And you agree to abide by whatever conditions are contained within those reports?
yes.
I'm satisfied.
So we'll have a resolution when? At the next meeting?
Well,
But it's approved tonight?
if it's approved tonight, there'll be a resolution in hand for the next meeting. Correct. You can proceed, assuming you get an affirmative vote tonight.
Roll call?
Roll call, somebody has to- Would anybody like to make a motion tonight that we approve the soil movement permit of the applicant here tonight, subject to the conditions contained within the two reports?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Tyler, roll call please.
Mr. Broom?
Yes.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mr. Ivy?
Yes.
Mr. Pontier?
Yes.
Ms. Berman?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Been approved and,
And you'll have a resolution in hand at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck. Good luck. Thank you.
Back.
And for the record, Mr. Cortez has rejoined us after the vote for the soil removal. Just before we do get to the public invitation, just a couple of things. I'd like to thank the Shade Tree Commission and for the addition of probably 15 or 20 trees, I think it was, along Route 53, out there in front of the warehouses that probably should have gone up when they did the road, the plantings over there, but that's okay, got replaced. That is certainly filled in there now and looks nice. And also the sidewalks along Route 53 and Foxwood has been started, probably close to finished now, if anybody's been out there and they can see it, or at least one side is finished. So that was a grant that we got through Chronicles from Cheryl and the DOT for that sidewalk out there. So I think Nancy started that quite a few years ago. So if anybody wants to take a look, that's going on out there. So I'd like to welcome the public, everybody who came out tonight, and if there's anybody wishing to speak, come up front and state your name and address.
Joanne Dugan, 31 Campfield Place.
Hey, Joanne.
Hi. I just had a question regarding the demolition at the Friendly's Corner property. I know back in the meetings that we had months ago that they were requiring them to wet down the site when they're doing the demolition, and that is not happening. And OSHA requires wetting down demolition sites to prevent dust. I could read the whole thing, but they're not, there's a water truck there, they're not using it. There's video of dust clouds going when they knock down the buildings, and there's no water being used over there.
Okay. Do you know anything about that?
I know that demolition is now under the jurisdiction of the construction official, Mr. O'Connor. So he would have to,
So I-
or someone from his office would have to enforce that.
I think somebody contacted you.
I got it.
Oh, all right, I'm sorry.
I drove by one day, I saw the dust cloud, I called the mayor, he recommended I called, I talked to Don Salerno. He said the truck was on site, but they started the demolition before the operator was there for the, she was for the water truck, so, but I did see
Yeah,
that also.
but that's not okay.
No, I just happened to drive by.
You
and
know,
I thought
I'm
it
just
was
saying that was stated in the, I think it was in the resolution for the construction and the demolition. And I know Carolyn Bennett's son has issues with breathing, and, you know, that was stated that this will not be a problem. And with the amount of public, you know, interest in this project, I would think that things would be on top of and being, you know, taken care of. It's not acceptable. And somebody needs to go over there and take care of it.
Is it an ongoing thing?
Yeah.
It's not
Has
just-
anybody called, has anybody called the building
Jill
department?
Cecere sent a letter out to like the entire town,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
council,
we
the
got
planning
that.
board, everybody. And nobody's gotten back to her. I think you sent her one line.
Yeah, I
and
sent
the
her,
chief.
I sent her a response
Yeah,
to that.
but
one.
that you are the only one and
Well,
the chief.
because the whole council can't, respond all at once, and the answer is gonna be the same whether somebody else.
What's the
answers.
answer?
That everything is going through the building department.
Okay,
that
so
has to-
the building department hasn't responded.
I understand that Bill O'Connor was at her house, and that she's been in several times and has talked to Karen Coffey and Bill O'Connor.
Well, it's still not taken care of.
So that's news to me, because the last report that I got from the building department, when I was following up with it, is that they spoke with Jill.
Okay, but they didn't do anything. There's no water being sprayed on it,
Okay,
and
well, then I will
we
take
have
care of-
video of it.
Okay, well, I'll take care of that then tomorrow, make sure that there's
Okay.
water on
I
the
mean,
site.
it's just like, this was all stated when this procedure went forward, that this would be done, this would be done, this would be done. And nothing that was promised is being done. There was no fence. Jill had to go and get the fence taken care of. Like, none of the things that were promised are being done. So I'm very aggravated about it. And, you know, it's not our job to make sure that these things are being
No, not
complied with.
at all, but I think the fence was put up before the work was started.
No, it was not. There were kids playing in broken glass, throwing things and breaking things during the construction or during the demolition.
I will make sure that the water goes on that site and is on there when they're doing any sort of demolition.
Yeah, I mean-
I will make sure that that gets done.
Okay, but you're making it sound like, you know,
I'll make
It's
sure
not a
that
big
gets
deal.
done. It is a big deal, that's why I wanna make sure that it gets done
Okay.
tomorrow.
Alright.
If that didn't get, if nobody
but like,
talked
why
to-
do we have to be the ones to like come and
Police.
tell you these things?
Well, I know that the building department has been over there several times for inspections, whether they have not seen anything or whether they were using water there.
They haven't used water one time since they started, not one time. The truck has been there, but they have not put water on it, not once.
We'll make sure that that happens.
I would
make sure
appreciate
that-
it.
I have a meeting with Bill tomorrow.
And I'm not going on Bill, like, I realize he's short, you know, he doesn't, but it's not our job to make sure you guys are complying with what you promised us.
Correct, right,
So-
but as, you know, as was stated, right, Bill's the head of the construction office over there, right, so, I have a meeting with him tomorrow, we're gonna talk about a number of things, I'll bring it up, with him. I understand that it's, some of that's too late, right, cause it's happened already, right, but.
Well, there's
moving
still a lot
forward-
more to go.
Understood, and that's what I'm saying, moving forward, right, I'll talk to him about being better, about, you know, being more diligent, about looking at what's going on over there and enforcing what was in the documentation.
I appreciate it, thank you.
And Bill, it wouldn't be a bad idea to pre-soak it even before construction.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk
Get it
to
soaked
A
up
lot of
and then
things
have
have
the water
sort of
run
what
while
they
it's
can
still there.
do. They just set up the hose over there and it should just be
Yeah.
running on the pocket. That's what they should be doing.
Is it the boroughs that's not complying, or is it the contractor that's not complying?
Well, if that's the case, then the contractor is supposed to be doing that.
But
Whether that's
reinforce.
being, we enforce that.
Okay.
Part of the construction meeting is all this stuff that comes up. Water should be on when construction's going on. That's part of the pre-construction meeting.
Got it.
Hi,
Hello.
Jill Cecere, 11 Dayton Road. I wasn't planning on speaking because I sent the letter and I understand why you can't all respond, you know, so.
Thank you.
But as Joanne was just stating, and I think I stated in my letter, I understand there's a lot of construction going on in town. It's not just that property, you know, there's the Weicker, and there's, you know, other individual house, you know, things that are going on. And I also understand that our construction department is part-time. I mean, it's very limited hours. And that's why I'm not trying to point the finger at Don Salerno or Bill O'Connor or whoever it may be. They're only here for a few hours a day, and construction goes on all day long, 7 days a week sometimes. So,
Well, we have other people that can do it. We have an engineer that can do it. If there's a problem, we can get in touch with the police and have an issue as well, so.
you know, I just have to be, you know, I'm the lucky winner of living next door to this property, and I witnessed, there was the water truck being used one day during the Friendly's demolition. In fact, I stood out there with some neighbors and the kids, and we were watching it. And so I just assumed everything's going the way it should be going. But then when the building next door at 415 was being started to demo, the water truck was parked in the parking lot. I could see it from my house, never moved, wasn't sprayed down prior to, during, or after. I have video and I can send it to all of you if you'd like to see it. I was standing in my backyard as the wall and the chimney of that building came down and dust is blowing everywhere. You can actually hear the debris falling. And my concern is because when I went to look at the asbestos report, I noticed that there was 3 samples that were not submitted that, for all I know, that could be asbestos. And now it's been blowing all over my neighborhood. My husband has health concerns. I don't know about everybody in my neighborhood, but I also know that, you know, Ms. Bennett spoke and her son does. We can't just sit quietly when things are being promised that are gonna be done, or we should expect are being done because they may be like OSHA requirements. And then it's not done, and then we're just backpedaling and trying to, like, okay, well, I'm gonna speak to them or this and that. The fencing, yes, the fencing was put up 2/3 of the way, and they never put it up in the back. So I could walk in anytime I wanted to from my backyard because the rotting wood fence that was supposed to be replaced last year was never replaced. So when Bill, you know, was aware of that, you know, he did have that fixed the next day, fencing was put up. I appreciate, you know, how quickly he worked on that issue, but honestly, it shouldn't have been, they shouldn't have even got their demo permit before they could prove that all these things were in place. Like, I don't.
So did Bill come and talk to you? I sent an email.
He talked to me before I wrote this letter, before it started getting ripped down. It was just,
Did Bill talk to you after I sent you that response email?
no, I have not
Have you
spoken,
spoken
no
to
one has
Bill?
responded except you and Chief Korski.
So, did you speak to Karen after that letter? Or after the email, I'm sorry?
No, I haven't spoken to anybody. I'm actually going there tomorrow, but, just, you know, but no one has responded.
Well, that's disheartening, first of all, so we'll take care of that.
Yes.
Because I specifically said for Bill to follow up with you on whatever the problems were. And that didn't happen, we'll take care of that internally, but, that's what I was told, that you responded to. So, this is news to me and the rest of us
Nobody's
here.
responded.
Thought it was all taken care of.
It's been a week.
Okay.
It's very concerning if this is just the beginning of this whole project that may happen. I'll gladly send you a bill for my time being on top of things because nobody else is, it seems like. I sort of expected the finger pointing, but it's not our part-time, you know, construction people that should be responsible. I mean, yes, they should be responsible for certain things, but when it comes to like certain promises that were being made, how are they supposed to know? Who is supposed to let them know these promises were made to the public?
So everybody has the copy of the resolution, so they all know what is
The
required.
resolution doesn't have everything in it. I've read it
Well, that's what
many
everybody-
times.
that's what everybody goes on, and are certain requirements for permits when they pull the permit, what's required for that, so.
Right, I mean,
And the asbestos, I have a hard time seeing that they got, that the asbestos didn't come back with any of these reports. I have to really.
no, the
look into
asbestos
that.
report, it stated that there was 23 samples taken and submitted, but then when the report came back from the lab, they had results for 20, and then 3 of them, the last 3, they stated in their report, sample was not submitted, so there was no results. And
So do you know anything about that, Bill, at all? So we'll have to probably look into that.
It's a little late for that.
Do we, sorry, Mr. Ryden, do we know in the resolution, are there any penalties, for the, property owner if they don't comply?
The resolution doesn't stipulate any penalties.
Okay.
The resolution stipulates compliance with all laws and requirements for all the operations they do. So if there's penalties to be assessed, that would be through the construction office.
Okay, so if, for example, if they're not in compliance with, dust remediation, right, if there's a penalty to be assessed there, it's done by the construction
And
office.
that's assessed by the construction official, yeah.
Because I know when they started demolition prior to having the permits, right, there was a stop work notice put over there, there was a fine associated with that, so.
Well, that's the other action that can be taken. He can issue a stop work order
Right.
because they're not complying with the requirements.
Okay,
So-
so,
But that's right, right now, it's totally under the construction office jurisdiction.
understood.
Right,
I
but
was
then
just-
is it my word against, that's my issue when it comes to the people that are supposed to be overseeing and making sure that everything is happening to code or law or whatever it's called. If they're only part-time people that are only available a couple hours a week, and when they come to our town, that's not the only site that they have to oversee, this is ridiculous. It shouldn't be, I shouldn't have to be looking out my window to make sure things are happening correctly. It's just very disheartening. I mean, I don't know what to say, it's just, especially when it comes to health concerns. But I have numerous times when I've taken video or pictures and the trucks aren't being, it's on the site, it was used the first day and then it was never used again. But if Bill goes to see, they could say, we used it every time. And whose word is it, it's just my word against theirs? I mean,
We'll talk to Bill and I will talk to Bill tomorrow and see get to the bottom of it.
okay, well,
Very simple.
I shouldn't have to babysit the site, and I'm just really upset.
Mike Baza, 9 Mayfair Road. Good evening, Mayor Carr and council. Last month I was here and was very encouraged to hear that the council is undertaking a proposal to look at rooming houses and boarding houses in Morris Plains that are being done illegally. This is something that my neighbors and I have brought to town individuals, town employees and council members for some time. And we're really looking forward to something being passed quickly. For me personally, this comes down to a safety issue. When you have multiple unrelated people occupying a single family residence, you don't know what is coming or going or who is coming and going from that home. Are they bringing in hot plates? Are they bringing in space heaters? Other things that, potentially tax the electric system in the house. My house is 100 years old, okay? And the houses in my neighborhood are all very close together. God forbid there's a fire, somebody gets hurt, somebody gets killed before we take action. So I was hoping to come here tonight and see that there would be, something on the docket for consideration. I appreciate all that you do. You all have other lives and other things going on. This is extremely important though, and I would strongly encourage you to take this up as soon as possible. You have our full support in our neighborhood. Anything we can do to help you in that regard, I'm here to do it. I won't speak for my neighbors. But there are other examples of ordinances like this in other towns around the state. And I don't think we need to get to a perfect ordinance, don't let perfect be the good, the enemy of the good enough. So, appreciate, all your support on this and really look forward to coming back here soon and seeing an ordinance under consideration.
Yeah, Mike, so thanks for coming in. The mayor did actually present an ordinance to us, as the head of the ordinance committee. I did look at it with Tyler and Art, as the ordinance, as the committee. And the only question I had was about enforcement. Other than that, the ordinance looked good. My only concern was, how would we enforce this ordinance? Because we don't have full-time health people, right? As was mentioned before, most of our people that do inspections are part-time. But we've been doing it a certain way for years, so I just wanna flesh that out a little bit more to make sure that when we do pass this, that it does get enforced, so that you're not kind of hanging. So that is on my plate, and I do intend to bring it to the council at the next meeting.
I appreciate that. Look, money talks, fines talk, in some cases, it's, owners are renting a house, perfectly legal, renters coming in, and then they're subletting it to somebody else. And if the owner's on the hook and the owner's getting fined on a regular basis because they're not watching what's going on their property, look, it talks to me, so I get it, enforcement's difficult.
Just
but-
so that we're clear though, there's nothing there that we can enforce right now, right? We've gone through those channels where the people have gone into that house, right? And we know all the rest of those stories.
That's what we've been advised, yes, Mayor.
The ordinance committee was presented with a full ordinance, took a bunch of different towns and put it all together. We did have a conversation at the last meeting, I believe it was, and it seemed like a simple question, right? To blanket everything with a proper borough official, right? So that could be a fire official, it could be the police, it could be Board of Health, it could be building, it could be whatever. So I think that's where they're at right now. So I'm looking Mr. Houston to get that for the next meeting, at least for the first reading on this. And
Yeah, well,
move this forward.
as I said, we'll talk it through again with the committee, and I think we were all in most agreement. Again, it was just an enforcement thing, but the mayor's, made a statement about our current enforcement policies, and, I'll convene with the committee, and if we think that's sufficient, then I don't see any issue in bringing that forward at the next meeting.
Thank you, appreciate your support.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Bill Chance, 13E. Just another question about the referendum that's coming out for the police headquarters. So my understanding is we're going to be approving, expenditure of like 7 million to 13 million. What if the town approves, let's say the referendum comes positive yes, but then the board or the council later decides they want to do a $4 million project or something, or scale it back? Is that something they have to do, or is it something they have the option to do?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Chief. What the council is asking the residents to do is, we're actually asking for the temperature of the residents to spend between $7 and $13 million, whether it's renovations here or off-site somewhere. So you're really okaying an amount of money to do. If it's less, I'm sure that would be wonderful, right? But it can't exceed whatever the highest number.
But as I say, the council decided, hey, we wanted to scale back project, and we're gonna spend less, that's something they have the option to do.
Correct, yeah.
And the only reason I bring this all up is so, first I don't know why, but I spent the last 2 weeks, right, digging through the 10 years of budget reports, right, on the website, and I do think that there's a potential math issue, right, for the town. So if you look over the last 10 years, the property tax, average property tax has gone up about 2% a year, right, which makes sense given the property tax cap. But the expenses have gone up around 3.5% or 3.25% a year, which actually I think is pretty good. I mean, I think that shows that the council's done a good job trying to rein things in, but there's still a gap. So the gap was closed because we built 671 new housing units, right, in the last 10 years, which generated about $250 million of incremental assessed value, right, which did three things, right? It offset a decline in assessed value on the non-residential side of about 100 million, might allow the town or the borough to close that gap, right, between the spending run rate and the tax run rate, as well as pay down some debt, right? The issue is, so the, you know, the borough's in pretty good financial shape now, right? But the issue is, looking forward the next 10 years, right, we're not gonna build 671 units. My understanding is from the last thing, we're gonna build like 32 units, something like that. I heard it's been challenged, but, you know, it's probably not gonna get to, may change, but not gonna get to 671. So then we start to say, how are we gonna, you know, where's that money gonna come from, right? And then on the commercial side, I mean, there are some things that are, you know, working in our favor. I've got the right to property, obviously McDonald's, as controversial as if it gets built, is gonna help with the ratables. But if you look over time, it certainly feels to me like there's only a handful of properties that we have in a town that really can develop on. That's essentially what we told the state, right? We can only really put in 6 units, right? So the question is gonna be, once we get to that point, right, where we sort of built out, so you can sort of see that's coming, that 2% property cap that we have is gonna be brutal. It's gonna cause a lot of pressure, right, on the expense side of the equation. When you look at the cost side of the equation, right, 40%, right, is 2 areas, right, public works and public safety, and a lot of that 60% is, you know, non-controllable items, right, things like insurance, right, sewer fees and whatnot. So I got a feeling we could be at a point, at some point down the road, right, where we're gonna have to look at, you know, major changes to how the town is structured, right, also, you know, shared services with the police, shared services with public works, that sort of thing. And the question is, when, right, how far into the future are we talking? And I know we've never had to actually, you know, go through and actually hire, you know, pay, you know, these accounting firms to come in and do this kind of analysis, but I think we now need to take that kind of longer term view of what is this gonna look like, you know, how far into the future are we talking? Because if it's 10 years, it may not make sense to spend $7 million, right, on a new police headquarters if 10 years from now, we're gonna be looking at, you know, a shared service type situation. But if it's 25 years, then there's probably enough, you know, time horizon there.
Yeah, so I mean, there's many factors to look at during this, right? And I think Mike, during his presentations, are gonna bring up some of those factors, and that's what the residents of Morris Plains are gonna have to decide, right? And then the council's gonna have to decide, yeah, let's do that, you know, it's warranted or what have you, right? So we've had our auditor look at it, and our CFO has looked at it, they came up with a number, and then that's what it's gonna, you know, add to whatever your tax increase is.
No, I
every year,
get that
right?
part, I'm just looking more, but I guess the ask I'm having is would you be really willing to, you know, have, you know, hire one of these accounting firms to come in and do a long-term financial projection, so that we have the context, right, of that before you make the final decision on how much to spend. I toured the, you know, facility, you know, with the chief today, and I totally understand why we wanna do what we wanna do, and it totally makes total sense. I'm not challenging the project, I'm just challenging it, I think we have to put it in context of what's the future financials, because that 2% cap, I don't think is going away, right? I mean, the state's getting more and more bought into, you know, subsidizing the property taxes, and that 2% is gonna put relentless pressure. I think you guys are gonna see it, honestly, at this next round of budget, right? There hasn't been any new development the last year. I think the 2026 budget cycle is gonna be.
You know, that's not all we rely on, the building, we don't always, you know, that comes and goes, right? So you have to be financially strong, like you said, and have a vision for at least 5 years out. We know what our debt is, you know, I've tried to make it my goal to become debt-free, right? So we've eliminated some debt. We have a bond that's left, that may be up next year, possibly, right? You may have seen that, right? And so I think the borough is in a good spot, but you can only get so much blood from a stone, right? But the ratables will still be going up, property values will be going up, right? So there's a lot of other
Yeah, but the 2% cap
factors.
is on the, 2% cap is on the property taxes. Like, once you can't grow your ratables, you're stuck at 2%, and I think that's gonna be really, really difficult. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with what we've done, I'm just saying I think it's time to take a longer view than just what we've done, you know, kind of taking it year by year.
Yeah, but some things are in the 2% cap, and then there's other expenditures that are outside the cap, so, I mean, it's a lot to look at, absolutely. Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Edward Duffy, 22 Mount Morris Road. I have a couple questions on the purchase of the Lucas device. The first one's going to be, do we know where it's going?
stored with us as for first responders to get it on people who are in cardiac arrest.
Okay. Like, personally, I've used it in my line of work. Are you guys, I know manpower is very, very tough, both on all aspects across the country, not just, between who you have attested over the past couple of years, your manpower's been the same since my grandpa's been a patrolman here in this town. Are you guys aware that you guys have to stick with it if it is deployed?
Yes.
Okay. Or you guys have any plan for that, public safety wise, if that has to be implemented?
It's that, and it's shared with, EMS, who has the training to use the device as well as the county OEM is really where, we first saw the device in use. It's that, critical, CPR, effective CPR that's done, a human can't do like the device can, so, but yeah, that training aspect does come into play.
And then the only other question I had, does the borough, I know it was just stated underneath Mr. Vaz's statement a couple minutes ago, does the borough have a nurse or a medical director that will oversee the performance of that?
Yeah, we use Atlantic Health, our medical direction.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. And thank you for your service, Mr. Duffy, appreciate it. Anybody else? Seeing no one, we're moving on to reports of committees and department heads. Finance, yes, Bertha.
Thank you.
Good.
Take video, please.
Yeah, I did. I'm like, it could wait, it's not urgent, but, hi, everyone. Kate Katz, 17 Idlewild Drive. My first, really my question, was that seeing as we're back to school, and my family is second year at Mountain Way, and as a parent, I'm driving around town, and I'm wondering what the process is, of installing crosswalks, if necessary. I'm wondering if there's a possibility. So we live on Idlewild, and our backyard backs up to Grannis, and poor Miss Claudia, who is a saint and risks life and limb every day to correct driving on Grannis, especially when back to school comes. The possibility of a crosswalk a little further up Grannis from, oh God, what is that cross street now?
Washington.
Yeah, or even further back, just because I feel like there's enough kids that cross there. Even if we can't man it with a person, I just think coming from the morning commute from Route 10 down Meadow Bluff Road, down Grannis, people just fly, and because it's downhill, they fly. Even if just the presence of a painted crosswalk might cause people to just.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that was looked, Bill would know, I think that was looked at, but the curvature of the road there was an issue.
It's a sightline distance issue there, as well as, and you'll know from Miss Claudia being there, right? There's a sun glare issue there.
Yeah.
The change in the seasons as well.
Yeah.
But as you've seen, or I've seen over 25 years, our kids from different neighborhoods, that ebbs and flows throughout the time.
That's
So,
true.
if we're looking at just for a crosswalk sake, there are some concerns there. I mean, we did add one further down by Grannis and Watnum years ago. But again, that's a little bit more line of sight. So it's that curvature in the roadway. When you're coming Greenwich Avenue, coming into town, right? You have a greater sight distance. But when you're passing over Mount Way, heading out of town, that curvature in the roadway is just really tough there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Not to say that it can't be done, but it would be something we would certainly take.
But
into
Mike,
account.
you do have a safety meeting, a traffic committee meeting coming up anyway, so
Already made the note.
bring that up,
Thank
and we'll
you.
see what they have to say.
Yeah, if it's not possible, it's not possible, but I just think also, I mean, I do it myself sometimes when driving, like when you're coming down from Central Park, just the natural
You're doing
flow of the
25, right?
downhill. Yes.
Okay, good.
Always. No, I mean, there's times when you don't realize, you're like, oh my God, I'm going faster than I should, and especially like because this road backs up to my backyard and I see how people fly. I'm just not as mindful, but maybe if there was even just the painted lines, it would make me think, oh, this is a pedestrian crossing and I should just, be aware and.
Mr. Ryden will also share it, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Mr. Ryden will share with you, we put lines down, right, then we've made the crosswalk, right, Bill, so then we have to have ADA maps for people, like landing pads for wheelchairs to cross and what have you, so it's more than just the painted lines, it becomes curb cuts and ADA mats and engineering and, a larger expenditure than just applying some paint. I'm not saying it can't be done, we'll certainly consider it, but,
No, I appreciate
it'll be a
the
topic of our
information.
discussion.
Cool, thank you.
We could also put a motorcycle unit over that. I was watching, he had like 4 or 5 cars stopped. I think it was the day of school opening or the second
People
day.
forget,
But
yeah.
really, because it's kind of hidden, but I was talking to the officer and he had the gun and it was like 25, 35, 38, 40, 43 and he
It's nuts.
put his hand out, so.
Right.
but they did a great job.
No, they do a fantastic, and thank you too,
You're very
Chief
welcome.
Karofsky, yeah, they really guys do it, but I feel bad that it's using those resources, you know, to, you know, just for that purpose. But we appreciate you very much.
Absolutely, thanks so much.
While I'm thinking of thank yous, I did also just want to, I really appreciate being here for the council, the conference session, and to hear the discussion. Thank you, Nancy, for bringing it to the attention of trying to change up the meeting, just to make it accessible. Clearly, I think tonight, as, you know, is as good of an example as any, that people are really interested and just want to know the process. And I appreciate the council for really like taking it into consideration, doing the research, having a really great back and forth about what would work best for what you need to do versus what the public, you know, would find most accessible. So I really, really appreciate that. And I also appreciate, Bill, you wanting to bring back the ordinance 14/2023 to be able to just define better, because I think we're only gonna continue to grow as a borough. We're only gonna see more businesses and more things come into town. Yeah, what's that?
More cars.
Yeah, more, but the better that we can define certain things the way that they are written, I think the better it serves all of us. So thank you. Thank you all for what you do.
Thanks, Casey.
Thank you.
Gonna be real quick.
Joe Palomo, 34 Canfield Place. So there is a crosswalk at Grandis and Whatnot now?
Yeah.
What was that?
Whatnot Park.
Whatnot Park,
Yeah,
okay.
it's right by the park.
What about
That's not
Whatnot,
right. That's not right.
Whatnot Street, right when you come down from Central Park?
Say again?
Is it Whatnot that runs? is that the-
Central Avenue or Grandis?
No, he's talking about above Meadow Bluff coming into town, Whatnot.
We talked about that a couple of years ago,
Meadow Bluff is
So-
coming down the hill,
coming down the hill.
right?
So when you
That's
first come into
Persephone.
Morris Plains,
And then you make a left to come into Morris Plains, is that what you're talking?
right, right. That's Whatnot, I believe, right?
Yes.
Oh.
The
We
first
talked
range
about
I
of-
didn't hear what you said, that's what?
Whatnot, Street.
Whatnot and Granite, so.
Oh, Whatnot and Grant, the street
We talked about this a
Whatnot.
couple of years ago.
That's what I meant, yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
and you
yeah,
you
yeah.
had mentioned that you got approval for it. And you said it was,
There's a crosswalk there.
is there?
That crosses,
Crosses
Granite or?
from one side of Grandis over
Yeah.
to
Oh, no,
Whatnot.
Yeah, where the sidewalk
Street.
is. Yeah,
What's that?
Whatnot Street,
It's
Not
not
the park.
street, but yes.
or road, whatever. Drive. Okay,
Am I?
okay,
because there's a sidewalk there.
right. There's a sidewalk on Grannis,
Right, but on the opposite side of Grandis.
yeah,
Right.
and there's
The
a
concern was the kids walking on Whatnot to get across Grandis
Yeah,
and then having the sidewalk,
okay,
right?
right.
Right.
Is that new within like the past 2 years?
I don't know
Remember
whether
when
it
we
was
did that, Chief?
I don't recall.
There is no crosswalk there.
I don't think there's a crosswalk there. I think it's a great spot, and we talked about this. And you actually came to my house and said it was approved, and you said it will take a very long time, because I think it's the DOT. But I don't think it's there. Oh, maybe we can look at it.
Yeah, he, like I said, he has a traffic committee meeting, so.
Yeah,
We'll, gotta go out there actually and look now, now that you're scratching my head.
it's a great spot for it. You know, if you walk like.
I remember
Make us all
talking
scratch
about
our
that.
head.
Yeah, I know, I
Yeah,
know.
but I don't know,
I don't think it's there.
I don't think so. I think that's what I was talking about, Joe.
I was just.
But, yeah, but-
Anyway, he'll bring it up at the traffic committee meeting, so.
Appreciate it. I think it's a great spot. It's a perfect spot. There's a lot of, you know,
If
a
it's
lot of
not
people
there-
like walk around Morris Plains, and if you do that, you would walk on, turn right on Grandis, come up, and then, you know, you do a loop around Morris Plains.
Okay.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you. Look at that one as well. Okay. Moving forward, finance, Ms. Berger.
Thank you. As the mayor said, we welcomed a new staff member this week, Christian Kazemchuk. Pretty good. Deputy clerk, and this week he's already passed his notary test, so we have another notary in the office. And he's finishing up his test for certified municipal registrar as well. So he's been working hard on getting certified, so we have more hands in that office to serve the public. And also, he's continuing to work on his clerk's classes at the same time, so learning on the job. The staff said goodbye to our Borough Clerk Roseanne Denman, who had her last day in the office this week and officially retires October 1st. Stepping into her big shoes, as the mayor said, is the very capable Rosemary Lahan, who is now our acting municipal clerk running that office. Our labor attorney completed review of our personnel procedures manual, and I received a draft of it last evening, so we will be circulating that to the council members for discussion with department heads for any changes. Under finance, there's now a single combined application for senior citizens. It's called the Senior Freeze, and it, for property tax and reimbursement, and it combines the Anchor and Stay New Jersey programs, and those collecting Social Security disability benefits. And the form, as I was knocking on doors this week, it is a little confusing for some seniors. They were working on it as I was there, and the state is holding public assistance sessions for filling out those forms. The nearest session to us is in Dover on September 23rd from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Dover Fire Lounge, 7 North Sussex Street. The Green Team met on Monday, September 15th. Here's a quick update. We will be meeting with the planner from the Highlands Commission to join us for an October kind of exploratory information meeting where they will explain the benefits and costs of complying with the Highlands Master Plan. We also discussed topics for our next newsletter, including a possible anti-idling campaign in the borough, since gas-powered vehicles were found to be our #1 cause of greenhouse gas emissions when we did our report a couple years ago. Everything okay? Okay. We also reviewed a first draft of a green building checklist that we will ultimately circulate to the planning board for consideration and the council. This was an item recommended in the borough's 2018 master plan re-examination report. And emissions from commercial and residential buildings were the second highest source of our greenhouse gas emissions behind transportation. So incorporating green design principles can reduce loads on stormwater systems, cut down on material waste, reduce water and electricity usage, enhance occupant well-being, and improve the air quality through preservation or augmentation of green spaces. This checklist is recommended to be submitted by the developer for any applications and incorporated into the review and planning process for building development projects. Now, it is not a requirement that they comply, it is a suggestion. Builders may commit to pursue a similar self-assessment or certification such as LEED in lieu of this checklist. We're also working on a high-level document that describes the benefits of creating a sustainability element of the master plan, which is another recommendation that was made in the 2018 re-examination report. And if anyone's interested in joining us, we're looking for a new member or two to help with some of the research and outreach. For Plains Talk, the deadline for the November issue is October 13th. Please continue to submit photos and stories to our editor, Michelle Diamond. Under elections, we have ballots from the county being mailed starting this Friday for those who requested a mail-in ballot. October 14th is the last day to register to vote. And the deadline to apply for mail-in ballots is October 28th if you apply by mail, or November 3rd at 3 p.m. if you apply in person at the Board of Elections. And September 15th through October 15th is Hispanic Heritage Month observed. It's time to honor the voices and stories that contribute to our shared history. The dates were chosen to coincide with independence anniversaries of several Latin American countries. And I'd like to call out one of our borough employees, Richard Mejia, who organized a cultural celebration around his Mexican Independence Day in his town this Saturday at Clifton City Hall. Richie has, just to brag about one of our employees, he has his MBA, he's 23 years old, has his MBA and was elected to his Board of Ed last year and is the youngest person ever elected in Jersey City. So our teens are lucky to have him as a mentor and coordinator, and he's a great example of someone of Hispanic heritage that has really contributed to our own community. Thank you.
Thank you. Public safety, Mr. Papier.
Thank you, Mayor. It's always hard to go after Nancy, but I always do my best over here. So the police department is currently interviewing for the new officer. They have a couple people that have made it through round 1, so now they will meet with chief and some of the leadership, and at that point, if they like the candidates, they will come and meet with the council, and then that will be a decision. As you saw earlier, or heard earlier, we passed the ride-along resolution. Just to give kind of a quick breakdown of that, the department's ride-along program is established to provide citizens with an opportunity to view law enforcement operations from the perspective of an officer. The program is not only designed to foster positive relationships between the department and the community, but to enhance citizen participation and involvement within the department. The program accommodates all persons 18 years of age or older. Every person desiring the ride-along is afforded the opportunity to do so unless it is demonstrated that allowing certain persons to do so would constitute a hazard to the individual, the officer, the department, or the community. Members who volunteer for and take part in the ride-along program are expected to conduct themselves in the highest professional manner. So again, just a great way for people that may be interested in becoming a police officer or learning a little bit more about the process. That's really cool. Unfortunately, I did ask Chief, and you are not allowed to get out of the car, so there will not be any citizen arrests. But I'm sure some fun could still be had. Coming up on September 20th, there's going to be the Coffee with a Cop. Earlier today, from 5:30 to 7:30, was the first public open house at the police department. Open houses are my specialty, so I was there to help out the chief. They're also going to be doing another one October 2nd and October 16th, so before the next two council meetings as well. And they will also be doing another one this Saturday, September 20th. And the first public info session where Chief's really going to give the breakdown of some of the schemes and why they feel they need a new police department is going to be September 30th. There also will be one in October, but that is going to be TBD. The traffic committee is meeting October 1st. The Complete and Green Streets Committee is having their first meeting September 24th next week, so I should have an update on both of those at the October 2nd meeting. The fire department's well over 300 calls now, doing continuous training. And when I spoke with Chief Rongo, everyone's excited. Early this spring, we're expecting the apparatus that was ordered a couple of years ago. We're hoping maybe we get it a little bit early. And as mentioned earlier, we have the grant application in for the Lucas 3 automated compression device. Say that 3 times fast. And the court, quick update on the court system, very self-sufficient system that we have here. They meet virtual every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. and in person is usually by request. Judge Carlucci actually did a tour of the police department earlier, and he ended up saying that they usually about once, twice a month they end up doing in person. And also meeting with Chris Shea, who is the fire prevention chief, in the next couple weeks, as I had mentioned in the past, to go over his position. I think that's all for now. I'll hand it over to the chief, who's got a lot going on as well. Chief.
Thanks very much. Yes, in regards to the ride-alongs too, if it's a juvenile 16 age with parental consent, if the parent's going to ride with the 16-year-old, we'll allow them out in the vehicle as well. But the parents got to ride in the back where the prisoners ride. So we make the decision on that. Yes, and it is to help really our recruitment, not just in Morris Plains, but amongst the entire profession. All of my colleagues are seeing less applicants for police and law enforcement positions, so we're trying to help the future of the profession as some of us can retire in a few months. In regards to the open houses, yes, October 2nd, October 16th, 5:30 to 7:30, please stop in. We had about a dozen people this evening take the tour, as well as this coming Saturday, September 20th. If you're a weekend individual who can't get here during the evening, please stop by Saturday, September 20th, 1:30 to 3 o'clock. I'll be in the building as well doing some additional tours of Town Hall. As Tyler mentioned, September 30th at the Community Center, 7 p.m. We'll be doing a Town Hall style forum. Microphones, come up, say your piece, let us know your questions, your comments, your concerns. Give us your feedback as we look forward to building the future of not just the police department, potentially the fire department and the borough's municipal hall. And as Tyler said, there's in the final stages of the hiring process now. We'll interview 3 candidates tomorrow and move those on to council interviews probably in late October. Hoping to add our 19th police officer. That would add us to a total of 20 police officers with our class 3 police officer in the schools full-time. So with that, any questions, comments, concerns, I'm happy to take any.
Thank you, Chief. Public Works, Mr. Broom.
All right, thanks, sir. So DPW continues their daily garbage in all our parks, works on our police vehicles and other town vehicles. They assisted shade tree with some trees that had fallen on Harrison. there was a large tree that was in the brook, on Brook Drive South. They were able to take care of that. It did, I was gonna say, Mother Nature somehow was able to plant seeds in tiny cracks in parking lots and seeds, in driveways, and they'll grow wherever. You and I couldn't do that, but they weed whacked a lot of our town parking lots and some of our school, borough school parking lots, and then they used our street sweeper to make all the parking lots nice for the opening of school. They did paint some curbs in center town and also weed whack there. And then it's always a sign that summer's coming to an end when they start winterizing and closing down our town pool, which they've been working on that. They still cutting grass, even though it hasn't rained months, except for yesterday, so grass is growing. And then they had set up for the 9/11 ceremony, which had taken place. We appreciate all their work. And so there was a sinkhole on Layer Drive, so they were able to handle that. So that's all I have. Not like 287.
Mr. Ryan.
80, I think.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So the update is on our road projects. They're all complete. Everything's not 100%. There's some cleanup and punch list items, but essentially everything's done. We're satisfied with the project. It went well. And then the sidewalk construction project on, which you mentioned on Route 53, the sidewalk on the west side from Davenport up to Foxwood is done. On the east side from the recycling center, about halfway done up to Prospect. So we expect that to be done within a few days, and there's the follow-up restoration and cleanup and all those things, but we're happy with that. It's going well. That's all.
Crosswalk, is there a crosswalk still?
Yes, there's gonna be, the crosswalk situation is a little convoluted there, but you have to cross Foxwood, you have to cross 53, then you have to cross the ramp to get back to the sidewalk, but
At least it's
it's all there and it works.
And it's safe,
It is, it's there, and if it's used properly, it's safe.
yeah.
And this is a nice connector from Davenport over to the other side and down to Prospect.
And down to 10. too.
Yeah, yeah.
Good. Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome.
Public Buildings and Grounds, Mr. Cortez.
Thank you, Mayor. With my job, about 50% of my time is in Marsh Plains, and I can only say that the roads, sidewalks, our parks look beautiful. And the job that they did, like surgery, especially the paving contractors. I'm gonna borrow the mic. From Mike. I think the envy of a lot of times. It's just, I'm so impressed every time I see a road job finished, clean, no tar on the, I'm in construction, no tar on the curbs, everything nice and put together with the landscaping. It's really nice and everything's working well. Let me start off with Shade Tree. The mayor stole a little bit of my thunder. We put some beautiful trees on 53, well-needed trees. And they're absolutely gorgeous, and I can't wait for them to grow bigger and bigger every year. The commission is looking for some final approval on some grants they're trying to get in the October meeting. Recreation, got some little bit of sad news. There's some unexpected delay in our tennis courts. The contractor there found certain things. We are working diligently with recreation and my committee to see what we have to do. But right now, they are shut down until we find a solution, sadly. All right. The pool was very successful. Of course, we're draining it. The camp was a success. Everything, the kids had a lot of fun. We're doing a lot of workshops there with the DPW and recreation. The baby pool will need to put a cover on. You guys know we resurfaced it, and the requirement of that special material they put on will require a tarp. So John ordered that, and he's putting that on. So we're just going through all the lists. DPW is on, and I tell you, it's amazing how much that department does for our town. There isn't a little area that they don't touch, and everyone always goes to them for help, and they're really stretching. They're doing a great job. We're also meeting again with the workshops with the parks to see what we need for the 2026. We have a budget meeting always in March, so we're trying to keep them safe, keep them updated, and it's a task, but got Jerry Simmons here from the rec department. They're doing a great job, keeping our kids happy on all those beautiful new equipment that we put up. My favorite thing on Buildings and Grounds is the farmer's market. I always find those emails enthusiastic and fun. I just have to share this one. A bushel of books. This is story time at the market will be on September 27th, and live music performance by Jake Roggenkamp. They've come up with just wonderful ideas, and I just love to see those the emails and all the suggestions that you guys have. Lastly, downtown Morris Plains, there'll be a pumpkin illumination on 10/24 at 6 p.m. It turned out to be a great turnout. It was fantastic. I hope we get good weather and the kids have a lot of fun. I think that's about it.
Public health, sanitation, and sewers, Mr. Ivey.
Thank you, Mayor. The first event for Teen Center happened recently, and 72 kids attended, so it was a resounding success. There were kids everywhere, and they all had a great time. Yeah, it was mild weather, so.
Your mic.
I got this one.
Oh, you got that one, all right?
Keep that. And then the registration continues to climb, so it's, I'm glad to see the amount of demand. For reference, there were 42 sixth graders last year, and now there are 90 this year, so you might need to put an addition on the Teen Center. The next event will be September 26th, and then also thanks to the DPW, they did a lot of work at the house for us over the summer. It has a much fresher feel visually and smell-wise in the building, so it's much fresher inside there. Enjoying that. And then what was on the consent calendar is that we will be hiring a new Teen Center supervisor to backfill Jake's big shoes that he left us. For Board of Health, the Wellness Day is going to be October 11th. The wellness screenings are going to be available, so that's for blood chemistry analysis and cancer screenings. You do need to do that by appointment. And there's also going to be a wellness fair of a bunch of vendors from around town, and then also flu vaccines for anyone aged 6 months to 18 years for children, pediatrics, and then everybody 18 and over. Just make sure you bring your insurance card. So these will be distributed around town. You'll probably see them online, and then also we'll probably try to have that at the farmers market as well. And lastly, Municipal Alliance Stage Fun is going on right now with all the rehearsals at Community Center, and then the show will be November 1st at the Community Center as well. I think that is all I have.
Thank you. Ordinances and public utilities, Mr. Houston.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So just on the ordinance review side, so as I mentioned during the conference session, I presented to the council today some notes on ordinance 14-23, along with the schedule that goes along with it. So the council is going to take a look at it, provide their feedback, and then I'm also meeting with Plymouth or Morris Plains to gather their input as well from the public, and then we'll go through the process, and the planning board will take a look at our recommendations. So just a big thank you to all the residents who've kept me on task for doing that. It's an important thing that needs to be done, so I appreciate that. As far as construction office update goes, so in August 2025, the total fees collected were $8,609. They had 35 permits pulled, 12 building, 18 electrical, 13 plumbing, and 8 fire. Let's see. As far as the 329 Speedwell, which is the Acme Rivian Service Center, I think is what it's called. There was an application submitted for minor site plan, but it turns out that they actually need to submit a major site plan application. So that was rejected, and then they're gonna submit the major site plan for the board to review. On the planning board update, we did have our meeting this past Monday. We did discuss the updated application process. There were a lot of notes from many of the members, which we're all going to consolidate, collect, and then the committee, which has myself, Mr. Ryden, Mr. Garabaglia, the chair of the planning board, and then Mr. Schultz, the chair of the zoning board of adjustment. We're going to review all those and then pull them together and then make a recommendation. The goal there is to simplify the document, which embodies all the necessary items needed between zoning requirements and planning board requirements, as well as provide a simpler and online accessible form for the applicant or resident submission. The zoning board of adjustment has canceled their September meeting as there are no applications to review. And I don't think there's anything to report on the affordable housing other than the fact that we're doing what we're supposed to, and we're just waiting for a response. So, and that's all I have.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, can I say one thing? Sure. Wellness Day is actually on the 18th. I had to correct myself, but everything else I said was right.
And I do encourage everybody to just at least stop by and take a look at all the vendors that are there. And, even if you don't need shots or anything else, because they really have a great room full of vendors with a ton of information. So it's really worthwhile just to walk through there. So. We have no introduction of ordinances, no ordinances on second reading. We have a resolution, Mr. Cortez.
Resolution amending the regular meeting schedule of the Borough Council of Morris Plains. Are you reading the whole thing or just the top?
No, just the top.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ivy. Roll call, please.
Mr. Cortez?
Yes.
Mr. Broom?
Yes.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mr. Ivy?
Yes.
Mr. Pontier?
Yes.
Ms. Berger?
Yes.
Okay. We have no unfinished business. We have vouchers. Ms. Berger?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I move that the checklist dated September 18th, 2025, in the amount of $886,338.24 be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Broom. Roll call, please.
Mr. Cortez?
Yes.
Mr. Broom?
Yes.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mr. Ivy?
Yes.
Mr. Pontier?
Yes.
Ms. Berger?
Yes.
We have no need for an executive session, no new business. We do need an adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'm sorry, before we did it, just real quick, I just want to circle back to the resolution amending the regular meeting schedule. We should indicate on the record too, because the resolution itself does not say it, the resolution shall take effect immediately. Thank you, Mayor.
Need to revote or?
No, I just want to clear that up for the public,
Okay.
what you say on the resolution.
Thank you, John.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second by Sal.
All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? The ayes have it. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Thank you.
No, not that.